Cyberbrainer is an online training platform designed to help individuals and teams learn the latest technologies and become certified professionals, producing a comprehensive learning experience.
So then I will go next for the compensation plans, which could be like, say, if K. Thight's working at a manager level, she's eligible. She's eligible for a few elements. And if K Thight's going to be working out of, say, a metro city like Mumbai or out of 10, that's going to be eligible for a metro elements or a higher HRA elements. And then, once I create all of this, I'm going to tie all of this together in a compensation package. Clear on this? We will be, of course, seeing this next. I just wanted to give you a high level of how all of this looks in the tenant. And then I will jump into the deck and then we'll show you all that. Any questions here from the other team members? Are there anything which is not clear? Let me know, alright. Let's go to the next. Let me just go to the. So the compensation element is going to be your primitive thing that you will be creating. So you see over here all of the this is very well. So this is, like I said, a family allowance plan for Japan that we have created. So what is going to be the allowance element? Sorry, what is going to be the compensation element, which means this particular allowance plan that I have created? What is the element that is going to be showing up in my C, D, C, or further in my theme structure? Here. I just use it as an allowance. I could use even a specific one called as family allowance. I could use a number of different ones as per my choice. Tomorrow, if I'm going to create something like a commutation allowance, or in Europe it is very common, if common, for people to get re-empowered of their commutation otherwise, on a day-to-day basis. So I have to see compensation plan is going to be commutation and the minimum is €4 and your compensation element is going to be reflected as commutation elements. And it's going to be something like, say, €10 daily, or approximately €300 a month. To be that, I want that to be designed. So the compensation element here is going to be like commutation elements. So I could have multiple such compensation elements based on the plan that I'm going to be having it. So what exactly is going to be a compensation package? So we just saw a few things about earlier. So the first and foremost thing, like I said, when I'm going to have a compensation package, I need to have an eligibility rule that is going to be always sitting at the top of the stack where it is going to say, this compensation package is going to be eligible for a certain population. What is that? Population is what I need to define at first. I need to say that this particular compensation package is going to be eligible only for certain population, for folks who are based on Europe, or I could have it as a geography level, or I can have it based on the management level. Management level is going to be like 6, 7, and above. I'm going to do it. Or possibly, if the person is working out of, say, a remote location, I can have a different compensation package for them. And I can create it based on job, family. I can create, based on any criteria where I can use the employee. That's all. There is no hard and fast rules that I need to do it. But when I go for the designer, I try to put it in the optimal way that I can create so that I'm going to have fewer rules created and it's easy for me to implement and also have this used in the future for any support purposes. That is the main criteria that I'm going to be looking at when I go for my design sessions. Next we are going to have the grades. So what are the different grades, grade profiles, and everything? Steps. I will just give you only at a high level. But I want to go in depth into that. For example, if I go into this particular. Okay. So, for example, assume that this is just a question for everybody. So if the compensation grade or the grade profile for, say, a consultant level person, and if the salary range is going to be, like, say, 80 to 120K a year, and when a person enters the consultant level he could be paid like 80,000. And as he progresses, there is going to be a small increment in the salary based on what you might call as a consultant, 1 consultant, 2 consultant, 3, etc. I could have some steps in the progression of the person, or if you are going to be hiring somebody who's already a seasoned consultant. I may not put them at 80,000 tracking, but rather I might put him something at around 90 or 100K, because the salary range is still 80 to 120K. So I could put something around 90 to 100K per year package tracking. Correct. So this particular increment is what we call it a step in every grade profile. I'm going to have an incremental step in the compensation, which is going to be like each and every increment to the package. Like I said, 80 to 100K for my salary range, that for this particular person, when he starts with 80K, after a year, probably after his performance review, I could put him at 85 or 90K package based on his performance. But what exactly is the step for operation, is what we call it as grade steps. So here we have, like segment 1, segment 2, segment 3, 4, and the midpoint, which is going to be, of course, the median for this particular one, because here the range is going to be 55 to 100K. And what exactly is going to be and how these are all derived. This is purely based on business logic, and that could be like different rules and different business criteria, which need to find this based on how the organization wants to set this up. Because this could be even based on current employees who are like 2 or 3-year-old consultants at this level, or it could be like seasoned people. When I'm going to be hiring somebody at this particular experience level, what is going to be the midpoints? I'll be designing all of this based on my criteria, or what I'm going to be getting from the business. Purely organization-specific data only. Clear on that? Any questions on what exactly grade and grade profile steps are? Alright. Next, plans. So we saw about compensation plans. Basically, what is going to be the different plans at a package level and who's going to be eligible for what pays at different times. And that is typically what a compensation plan is going to look like. And again, I'm going to have different eligibility rules, which are going to drive all of this. And each employee may have one or more compensation plans in, as per the eligibility rules that I'm setting up as a package. And again, I can have a salary plan. I can have an hourly plan. We can have allowance, bonus, commission, one-time payment. So before we go into almost, I just quickly learn through all of these. Do everybody know precise? Precise. So for the rest of the folks, one-time payment plan is something that I'm going to be giving an employee as a one-time date. So you could be like something like, because of COVID, certain organizations gave something like a COVID-related allowance just to support the family. Or, for example, if you're going to be joining an organization, you could get something like a one-time relocation elements, or you could get something like a one-time joining. All of that is what is called as one-time payment plan. Next, we have commission plan. This is moved for either the sales and marketing folks or for the folks who are there in the C-suite level, people who ideally bring business to the organization. They could be part of so many different compensation for commission plans. And in US, it is given a lot of different terms: long-term incentives, short-term incentives. This could also be called as incentive plans in the US, because we have like short-term incentives, long-term incentives based on the level that you are there. And all of that constitutes a commission plan, bonus plan, or easier terminologies. You can see something like a variable bonus based on your performance and based on the organization's performance for that particular period under question. Next, allowance plans. I think we have already discussed a lot of that, allowance plans. Something like a communication elements, something like your family elements or your kind of metro elements, or, in India, you could have something like an HRA city allowance. All that is going to be constituted as a part of your allowance plan. Next, hourly plan. If your pay structure is going to be like you're going to be paying hourly, you're going to be having to pay hourly plan. And salary plan. Just have to remember only one thing over here when we come to salary plan. Not all salary plans are paid at a monthly level. In India, in Europe, Australia, and certain other regions, salary plan is usually monthly. But in US, the salary plan is those who are voting for product us probably might know. The salary plan in US, like I said yesterday, is usually 5 weekly. By me clinics, once it will be, except for my product. In US the salary plan is usually bi-weekly, whereas for the rest of the locations it is usually monthly, just a default one. It doesn't mean that it cannot be overridden. But usually in US people get their paychecks once in 2 weeks. So when you go to a live brand and they mean when you configure a salary plan, people only use the terminology salary plan. And if it's US, you just need to get the kind of an assistance to understand whether they mean it monthly or bi-weekly, because predominantly it is bi-weekly for all of us. So we just have to note that particular point alone. As far as salary plans are concerned. Alright. The next thing, the compensation elements. So we saw about compensation elements what it's going to be like. So we may have a one-time plan, one-time payment. You could have a base fee if it is going to be out of US, and you have so many other different plans if it's going to be Singapore, Europe, Japan, or Australia. You could have different elements based on the location and statutory laws over there. And what exactly happens is all of this is going to constitute a compensation package. Your eligibility rules, your grades, profiles, plans, elements, all of this is going to actually contain, or it's going to constitute, what my compensation package is going to look like. And I'm going to have this assigned to my employee based on the eligibility rules. That is number 1. And again, the most important thing is post-creation of the compensation. The compensation package has a touch point with the payroll earnings. So what happens is I'm going to say that this particular person is eligible for the compensation plan XYZ, for example, and he's going to have a compensation element. This compensation element is going to flow directly to my pay earnings. Clear on this? So if you're going to have a base fee of, say, $100,000 a year, that is going to automatically reflect in your paycheck as $100,000 a year, or if you're going to reflect in a similar way. Clear on what exactly a compensation package, eligibility rules, plans, elements, and payroll earnings. Any questions on this? Any questions, Steve? So we want you to proceed further. All right. So, like I said earlier, compensation plan package is nothing but a grouping of grades. Compensation plans, eligibility rules are going to be driving all of this. This is typically how a compensation plan is going to be designed as well. So the most important thing that I need before creating a compensation plan is, I need to have at least one or more compensation plans created. So the prerequisite for any creation of any compensation package is number 1, the compensation plan. Excuse me. Compensation plan is going to be the first and foremost prerequisite for my compensation package. And also I can view in the worker profile. I can view the person's compensation package, the grade profile. This is all there in my worker profile. And, like I said, I can assign it directly at the worker profile level, or I can have eligibility rules, which are going to drive all of this. So, based on my eligibility rules, I can say that this particular person is going to be eligible for the compensation package team or whatever is going to be the compensation package that I'm going to be creating. I can't, because I don't want this to be over there. That is why I can take this particular session for even another 20 hours as well. But I want you to basically understand what a compensation package is going to be. That is why I'm just going, probably at the top. I'm not going to keep diving into this as well. Compensation package, but I'm not going to show you about creating the elements and everything, because I don't want you to get into elements right now. We are only going to be creating a compensation package from scratch, using eligible rules which are already available in the system, because I don't want you to get overwhelmed with eligibility rules and everything, but we are going to create a package up next. Alright. So, like I said, prerequisite for creating a package. Number 1, I should have at least one compensation package, the compensation plan for my eligibility rule. And also I need to have my eligibility rules, because I need to define for which population am I going to create this particular compensation package for, without knowing for whom I'm creating. It's going to be extremely difficult for me to create a compensation package. Alright. So now let's get started and create a sample compensation package. Like always, I go to the search and then I say comp package. And this is going to be an activity for you. It is just try to only create something which is simple. Don't deep dive into all of this, and don't try to reinvent the wheel at this stage. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. That's what I would request, because this is a little bit advanced topic, so I want you to more concentrate on using existing ones for the time being. And then we can go into the deep dive and we can create your own compensation rules, eligibility grades, everything. But for the time being, please only stick on to the basics for today. Tomorrow, we can definitely do it. You can actually deep dive into it and all those things that you can do. I'm just going to be creating a test package. And then I'm going to say that this is going to be eligible for a certain company or an organization. So let me say that I already have a rule, and this is for Global India LLP, which is a company. And if I want to view this rule, like I said, just click on the 3 dots, which we call it as related actions. Click on this rule.
Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.